President Trump is supporting an increase in financial assistance for seniors as part of the big, beautiful bill. And you may have heard that the bill passed the House of Representatives a few weeks ago and has been making the rounds in the Senate. The Senate is actually supposed to vote this week on the big, beautiful bill. The big question I've been getting over the last couple of days as I've been covering this news is what specifically are seniors going to get as part of this huge bill that is going through Congress that's going to cost trillions of dollars. So I have done the research, and today I'm going to do three things. Number one, I am going to walk you through specifically how much in tax benefit seniors are going to get as part of this bill in real dollars. And then I'm going to look at specific programs that are going to be impacted by the big, beautiful bill and explain to you how that is going to impact you, especially if you are on food stamps or Medicaid, Medicare. Those are programs that are going to be hit. And I want to explain to you specifically in real dollars what that means. And then I am going to talk about President Trump supporting this new proposal to increase financial assistance to seniors and compare that to what he originally promised, and then show you the difference between what he's supporting now and what he promised seniors before while he was campaigning for president the second time. So my name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. For 15 years now, I have been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. I create content on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and any personal finance issue that would affect seniors. If you are new here, welcome. Do me a favor. I want you to go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state. But let's dive in. So the first thing I want to cover is, you guys asked me a question about the big, beautiful bill. How is it going to impact you in terms of dollars and cents? So I did the research and I have some data I want to share with you. So from a tax perspective, you may have heard that the big, beautiful bill is supposed to extend, number one, the Trump tax cuts from 2017. They want to make them permanent, and then some of them are actually being increased. So when you look at it from a tax category, from an income perspective, who is going to benefit the most? And this has been something that has been very confusing because we hear the news, giving you big numbers about, the middle class is going to benefit and the upper class and the lower. But what does it translate into money for you? So here it is. So I'm going to go by income category. If you are making less than $17,000, and by the way, this data I'm going to share with you is an analysis from the Institute of Tax and Economic Policy. These guys do this for a living. They've crunched the numbers. They've looked at the 850-page bill, and I've crunched the numbers, and that is what I'm bringing you today. So if you're making less than $17,000, actually, you are going to see a tax increase. You're going to lose $820 a year. So for the lowest of the low income, this bill is actually not good for you. You will lose $820. If you make between $17,000 and $51,000, you're also going to see a loss of $430. Now, if you make between $51,000 and $93,000, that is where things begin to get a little bit interesting. Then you are going to gain in terms of taxes, in terms of, okay, when you file taxes, how much are you gaining? How much are you losing? Are you getting a tax cut? Are you getting a tax increase? Well, it looks like those who are at the very bottom are getting a tax increase. But those who are at $51,000 to $93,000 on average are going to gain $840 the entire year on their taxes. Then if you make $93,000 to $174,000, you are going to gain $3,000 in terms of tax cut. So clearly, the higher income earners continue to get more. And then if you make $174,000 to $263,000, that is another tax bracket, you are going to make on average $5,515. And then if you make 636 263,000 to 500,000, you are going to get $9,000. So from just a tax increase and a tax, cut perspective, the people at the bottom lowest of the tax bracket are actually going to lose. And the people from 550,000 and upwards, if you make $50,000 and upwards, or your combined income as a family, as a household, head of household, or filing as a couple, if you make more than $51,000, you start to see some money. So basically, you know, this is the tax perspective. Now let's go to seniors specifically, because that is what you guys care about. Even though this affects you, you have heard that when the House passed the bill, they added a $4,000 tax deduction specifically for seniors over 65. How does that impact you? Well, if you are a senior and you make more than $50,000 to $93,000, as I mentioned, you're going to get about $840 with the current bill on top of what you're going to get when you deduct that $4,000 extra. The problem is that a lot of seniors do not make enough in Social Security income or additional income to qualify. And a lot of people on disability benefits do not make enough to qualify. So President Trump is backing an increase in the deduction. The House version of the big beautiful bill gives seniors a $4,000 deduction. The Senate version that is being debated right now, that is going to be voted on this week, is giving seniors a $6,000 tax deduction, as I explained before. Here is the problem. If you are not making the kind of money like $75,000 to be able to, you have to make $75,000 to be able to get the entire $6,000 deduction. Remember, it's not a tax credit. It just reduces your taxable bill. So a lot of seniors, about 40%, do not even make enough in Social Security to pay taxes. So they are going to be left behind. So when you look at the entire big, beautiful bill, I have just explained three things to you. Number one, the lower income bracket people are going to get a tax increase. People making 51,000 and more are going to get a tax cut. Seniors that make $75,000 a year in income and file taxes are going to be able to get the $6,000 tax deduction that the Senate is promising. But if you get Social Security benefits or disability benefits or spousal benefits or survivor benefits and you don't file taxes because you don't make enough money, the big, beautiful bill does not help you at all. That is just plain and simple. So do not lose hope. I'm going to walk you through 5 things that can actually be helpful to you that the Senate is debating, and I hope that they include in this bill to actually bring real relief to seniors versus throwing a shiny object like a $6,000 tax deduction that most seniors cannot claim because there is no taxable income to begin with. So stay with me. Don't go anywhere. But let's talk about details of the big beautiful bill, because I think I'll be doing you a disservice if I don't bring you the entire facts and analysis that I have done on this bill. Here's what I think. I think that the big beautiful bill is the biggest wealth transfer we have ever seen, where they are taking from the poor and the middle class and giving to the rich. And this is not political. This channel is not about politics. It's about facts. If you talking until the feed come. Well, I think my internet flashed a little bit. There's probably a storm going through our area, so I apologize for that. But what I was saying was that the the big beautiful bill is the biggest wealth transfer I have seen, from the lower class and middle class to the rich, because the things that are being pulled specifically impact the middle class and the poor and low income. So let me explain that to you, because as I said, this channel is not about politics. I'm not here to change your political opinion. I am here to bring you facts and how it's going to affect seniors and daily lives. So let's jump into it and let's look at specific programs. So the first thing is we're going to look at is Medicaid. How is Medicaid impacted in the big beautiful bill? Well, what they're doing is that they're going to increase the frequency at which you're going to do redetermination. So if you're on Medicaid, you are going to have to, on a regular basis, prove that you deserve the benefit. Why is this not good, and how is this going to impact seniors? Well, remember, 62% of seniors in nursing homes and assisted living facilities depend on Medicaid to pay their bills. And that is a big fact that I think a lot of people don't know. 62% of all nursing home and assisted living facilities are paid for by Medicaid. They're about to cut almost $1 trillion from Medicaid over the next 10 years. But the way they're doing this is to frustrate you. So they will go on television and tell you, we are not cutting Medicaid. We are not taking away, we are only cutting waste and fraud. We are only leaving Medicaid, excuse me, we're only leaving Medicaid for those who deserve it. Well, the problem is that 62% of seniors need it. And so what they're doing is they're putting roadblocks and having you to frequently justify that you need the benefit. Number two, they're cutting retroactive coverage. When you sign up for Medicaid, you're able to get retroactive coverage within a certain window, so that, healthcare costs that you've had a few months before are covered. They're taking that away. And then now they're going to require people to work to get Medicaid, and they're attaching healthcare to employment. Now, a lot of you will say, yes, that is good. But the problem again is that, remember, a lot of seniors depend on Medicaid. And now they're putting seniors up to age 64 have to work in order to continue to get Medicaid. Remember, a lot of seniors start getting Social Security at age 62. So now they're going to push seniors who thought they've retired and now need additional help with Medicaid. They're going to push them back into the workforce. And so when they tell you that they are not taking benefits away from anybody, and that people who lose benefits are going to make the decision on their own, they mean what they're saying. But what is behind that is they're saying that they're going to frustrate you, and they're going to make sure you keep having to bring in paperwork periodically to prove that you need the help. And so you get frustrated and you're like, you know what? Forget this. Or you're like, I'm 62. I started getting Social Security. I thought I was done with work. Now they want me to work to get Medicaid. I don't need it anymore. So that is how they're going to frustrate you. Now they're also, the biggest thing they're doing with Medicaid that is going to affect seniors the most. And guys, I want you to research this, because you may know somebody in your family, you may know somebody, in your community that uses Medicaid. They are repealing long-term care standards that govern assisted living facilities, so that they are removing the guardrails for staffing standards at assisted living facilities. What does this mean for seniors? Well, it means that assisted living facilities and nursing homes are going to have looser regulations in terms of how much staffing they need, because those regulations were tightened because of a lot of senior abuse, a lot of elder abuse. Now they're going to loosen those staffing care standards. And so it's going to be free for all. What is going to happen is going to make it easy for nursing homes to be understaffed, for long-term care facilities to be understaffed, and it's going to expose seniors to abuse and neglect. So with fewer safeguards in nursing homes, there's going to be more out-of-pocket costs, because if you want better facilities, then you have to pay more. And so that's where this is going. The next thing they are stripping from medical care, is the Affordable Care Act. They are taking away subsidies. Now, let me explain to you why this is not a good idea. So, if there are a certain group of people that do not have employer health care, they are working, but their job does not provide health care, but they make too much money to be eligible for Medicaid. Remember, Medicaid is healthcare for low income. So they're caught up in the middle where their jobs do not offer healthcare. They make too much money to qualify for Medicaid. So the only place they can go is to go to the affordable care market, the ACA market, and get healthcare. But the healthcare plans that are there are so expensive because healthcare in this country is just ridiculously expensive. And so the government then gives you subsidies so that you can afford healthcare. The people who cannot, do not get employer healthcare, but cannot also get Medicaid because they make too much money. They're caught in the middle. That you get subsidies from the government so that you can afford healthcare on the Affordable Care Act exchange. Well, they're taking those subsidies away. So what's going to happen? Again, they're going to say, we're not taking healthcare away from anybody, but you are, because you're taking the subsidies away that helps people afford healthcare. So that is that part. And then there is the eligibility. They're going to make eligibility for Affordable Care Act health plans more stricter. So they're going to make it harder for you to get health plans on the exchange. And they're also going to restrict special enrollment. If you're paying attention to Medicare, you know there are specific enrollment periods that allow you to be able to get on Medicare at specific times. There is also enrollment periods for the Affordable Care Act, and there are special enrollment periods that can catch people who miss the general enrollment period that happens during the fall. Well, they're also taking that away. So if you put all of these medical care together, if you put all of these cuts that they are making to the medical care system for Medicaid and Affordable Care Act together, they're going to knock 16 million people off medical care. Medicaid takes the majority, and this is the Congressional Budget Office's estimate. This is not my estimate. This comes directly from the Congressional Budget Office. So if you're on disability and you depend on Medicaid, if you're a veteran and you depend on Medicaid, if you are poor and you depend on Medicaid, your life is about to be made very, very difficult because they're going to frustrate you with a lot of paperwork. They're going to make you work to get medical care, even if you cannot work for whatever reason, and you're a senior and you've already retired. And if you have a loved one in a nursing home or assisted living facility, they are now going to strip away the staffing standards so that these centers do not have to adhere to strict standards of staffing that is appropriate to care for the people that they are being paid to care for. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to see a lot of elder abuse, elder neglect, because then they don't have to follow these strict standards. So that is what is happening with Medicaid. Let's talk about SNAP, food stamps. Now, guys, if you have any comments, if this is something you're experiencing, or if you have something to share about this, let me know in the comments, because this is going to impact a lot of people, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing you facts. As I mentioned, not politics, facts, just the facts. And this is coming from the Congressional Budget Office's analysis of the bill. Then second thing is SNAP, food stamps, which when I started creating content for seniors, I started with food stamps. So I know the ins and outs of food stamps. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know everything there needs to know about food stamps, everything there needs to know about Social Security. But food stamps is where I started creating content. So this is really, really, really personal for me, because when I watch what is happening, I think a lot of people are going to be hurt. So for SNAP benefits, they're going to expand work requirements. And this is, a song and dance we've been hearing every time. Every time Republicans come into office, they say, okay, we're going to increase work requirements. Every time Democrats come in, they're going to, then they will relieve some of that or loosen some of those rules. And it's just kind of like back and forth. We're all used to that. But what is disturbing about this is that they are also going to tighten eligibility requirements so that things like utility deductions that allow you to be able to deduct your utility bills, especially seniors, to be able to get more money, or be able to deduct things like internet bills. So all these deductions that were available to you that helps you get more food stamps are being taken away. So it means that you're going to get less money. They're bringing work requirements. So seniors, it used to be that up to age 59, you had to work to get food stamps. 2 years ago, they passed a rule and they increased that to age 62. Now they're going for age 64. So as a senior, you have to work until you're age 64 if you want to get food stamps. So it means that more seniors are going to lose benefit if they don't want to return to the workforce. Now, the question is, how does this bill then benefit the regular folks? You know, the teacher, the grocery store worker, the healthcare assistant, the department store worker. Well, you may have heard that they're saying, well, there will be no tax on tips. Well, it turns out that no tax on tips is only on cash tips, which is a bummer because remember, if you've lived in the United States and you're paying attention, everywhere you go to buy anything of service, electronically, they want you to tip, which is a whole conversation we can have another day. But the point is that a lot of tips are happening electronically. So by saying that no tax on tips only applies to cash tips, now you are really not giving people what you promised them because you said no tax on tips. You didn't say no tax on cash tips alone. So that's another wrinkle. And then they're capping it at $25,000. So if you are working in the service industry and you are getting a lot of tips and they're in cash, then that's good for you. But if your tips are electronic, like a lot of places are today, you cannot get tax relief on that. That will be taxed regularly. And the tips are capped at $25,000. So that is also another thing that was promised, but now has been delivered differently. All right. Then there is no tax on overtime. This was something that was included in the bill. It was no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. I'm going to talk about Social Security in a second, so hang with me. No tax on overtime was exciting for a lot of blue collar workers that are in the trades business because, you know, a lot of tradespeople who are in specific industries were working for a lot of overtime. And also some people who are in the public service, you know, police officers and firefighters, etc., do a lot of overtime. And so when he said no tax on overtime, a lot of people got excited. But now here is the wrinkle. So the wrinkle is that to qualify for the no tax on overtime, number one, you cannot make more than $100,000 as an individual. Well, if you live in the middle part of the country, that may be good. But if you live in part of the coastal areas of the East Coast, the West Coast, $100,000, you know, it's not, it's the average, you know, the middle of the road, you know, income. And so saying the cap is 100,000 is eliminating a lot of people. People who live in California, New York, Florida, Texas, all these areas where $100,000 is the average income for somebody who is in the middle of the road job now becomes a problem. So it's been capped at 100,000 for individuals, 150,000 for head of household, and 200,000 for couples. And then here is the part that I think is going to make a lot of people mad. So if your overtime is more than 20% of your income, you don't qualify for the no tax on overtime. And there is a lot of industries where more than 20% of their income is overtime. And I know that for a fact because I know specific industries where people depend on a lot of overtime to make up a lot of their income. So to put $100,000 cap is restricting it for a lot of areas in the country. But to make it worse, they are now saying that if 20%, over 20% of your income is in overtime, then you don't even qualify for the tax at all. So then the question is, who is really benefiting from this? Is the lower income category really benefiting at all from this big, beautiful bill? Well, there are some benefits that low income households are going to get. The first one is the 2,500 child tax credit extension. So that's there. And then there is an extension for people who are saving for their children for college. There is a provision there that's going to be helpful. And then there is the $6,000 benefit for seniors, which is what I want to talk about for the rest of this live. So, President Trump promised no tax on Social Security. It was no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. Well, the no tax on Social Security part did not make it into the bill at all. At all. It's not in the big, beautiful bill. Even though the other two parts made it, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, they made it into the bill at least. Even though they were restricted, they made it into the bill. The no tax on Social Security is not in the bill. Why? I don't know. But in place of that, they are giving seniors a $4,000 tax deduction, as I mentioned. And that was in the House bill. And then the Senate bill increased that with President Trump's support to $6,000. I think they realized that seniors were disappointed in the $4,000 tax deduction. So they increased it in the Senate bill to $6,000. But here's the problem. 40% of seniors do not file taxes with their Social Security benefits because they don't make enough money. So they are not going to be able to get the benefit that was promised. So my question is, okay, what can be done? The Senate is going to vote this week. They're debating this bill. What else can be done to impact the lives of seniors right now in a way that is meaningful, that can be included in the bill? And the reason why I think that this should be done right now is that this is the best opportunity Trump is going to get in the next 4 years to pass such a meaningful bill. Why? Because they are using a process called reconciliation. And reconciliation in Senate budget terms or Senate language means that anything that they can include in that bill has to be part of the budget, and it has to either raise money or spend money. That's it. And the term reconciliation means that it cannot be filibustered. So Democrats cannot stand in the way. The Republicans just need a simple majority. So they only need 51 to get it passed. And they have that. At least on paper, they have that. So they can do a lot. They can really put a lot in this, and they are stuffing this thing with all the goodies and all the wish lists that Republicans have had over the last couple of years that they've not been able to pass, maybe under the Biden administration. They are piling it on. And the big, beautiful bill is going to raise the deficit by a huge amount, and it's also going to raise the debt. So it's going to cost a lot of money. So if they are going to go do it, it's going to raise the deficit by 2.8 trillion, and is going to reduce revenue. The amount of money that the government is getting is going to reduce revenue by 3.8 trillion over 10 years. So not only are we not going to bring in a lot of money, we are also going to increase the debt by 2.8 trillion. Why is this so much in terms of money? Is because majority of the tax cuts are going to the wealthy. So my question is, what can be done for seniors right now? Well, I'm going to give you 5 proposals that I think will really make a meaningful difference if they were to put it in the big, beautiful bill. And they're actually talking about these proposals. So these are not things that I brought out of the thin air. These are proposals that are actually in front of Congress that are being debated. And the first one is what I've been saying for the last year. the Social Security Expansion Act needs to be passed. This has been one of those bills that gets us all excited, and then they dash our hopes by not including it in another bill, in another bill, in another bill. Well, it is time to pass the Social Security Expansion Act that will give seniors $2,400 increase in Social Security benefits across the board a year. It's going to be impacting everybody that's getting Social Security disability benefits, including SSI, SSDI. It will be a $200 increase a month across the board. And it's going to be paid for by increasing the Social Security tax rate from 6.4%, 6.2% to 6.5%. And some people even want to go further and increase it to 6.8%. But that's beside the point. The point is that it's going to be paid for. And it will give seniors a $200 increase a month. Now, you may think $200 is nothing. But here's the thing. This year, cost of living adjustment was only $60, guys. $50 for some people. So a $200 increase is almost 4 times what you got in your cost of living adjustment. So that is at least moving in the right direction. So that is the first thing I think they should do. The second thing is to increase food stamps benefits, the minimum food stamp benefit from the current $23 to $75. Why is that important? Because 50% of seniors that qualify for food stamps do not apply for many, many reasons. But one of the key reasons is that seniors think they're not going to get much. Or some seniors do not even want to bother because they know other seniors that have applied and got nothing. Well, if they increase the minimum benefit to $75 from the current $23, then it means that a lot of seniors are going to be encouraged to apply, because at least if it's $75, you at least can go to the grocery store one time and spend that $75, and it's meaningful. I know it's not going to buy a ton of things, but it's something. It's going to be helpful than the $23. So the second thing they can do is increase SNAP benefits to $75. Now, while we are talking about food stamps, here's the thing they can do that can actually make a big difference. They can make the food stamps income limit for seniors more generous. Right now, a lot of seniors apply for food stamps and are shocked to find out that they make more money to be eligible. The average Social Security benefit is $1,908 or $905, I believe. So if the average Social Security benefit is $1,905, how is that a lot of money to knock seniors off from qualifying for food stamps? But that's the reality for a lot of seniors. They don't qualify. And so by making the income limit for seniors more generous, it allows more seniors to be eligible for food stamps. And then by increasing the minimum benefit to $75 minimum, it allows more seniors to get help. That will address a lot of issues that seniors are having, specifically with food stamps. The third change that they need to make as part of this bill, if they really want to make the lives of seniors better, is that there are some seniors that qualify for Medicaid in addition to Medicare. And those are low-income seniors. And for those seniors, their Medicaid benefit pays for their Medicare premium. I think that more seniors should be eligible, especially low-income seniors should be eligible. I think anybody making about $2,500 and less, $2,500 or less in Social Security benefits should be eligible for Medicaid so that they can get Medicaid to pay for their Medicare premium. Now, you may think, why is that important? Well, Medicare premium is $184. And Social Security cost of living adjustment this year was $50. A lot of seniors found themselves in a situation where their Social Security cost of living adjustment was taken over or completely consumed by their Medicare premium increases. And a lot of seniors struggle to pay for their Medicare premium. It's taken out of your Social Security check, and you don't have any say in that. But the problem is that $184 is a lot of money for a lot of seniors. So by getting help with their Medicare premium, you can really put money back in the pocket of seniors. If you put all those things together that I've talked about, number one, giving seniors a $200 increase in Social Security and disability benefits across the board, increasing the minimum food stamps benefit to $75, making food stamps eligibility more generous, getting help with Medicare Part B premiums. If they just did that together, that will put about $600 to $700 in the pockets of seniors. That is real relief. It may not be it may not cover all the pain, all the frustration, but at least you're getting $600 to $700 in help. Versus the situation where a lot of seniors find themselves now, where the big beautiful bill with a $6,000 tax deduction does not help 40% of seniors in any meaningful way. And so they're about to pass a bill that is going to increase the deficit by 2.8 trillion. They're about to pass a bill that is going to reduce how much money the government is bringing into as revenue by 3.8 trillion. Yet there is no meaningful help for 40% of seniors who desperately need the help. So that is what I think should be done. But I want to hear from you. What do you think Congress and the Senate can do right now this week as they're about to debate this bill? Because remember, once this bill passes the Senate, it's going to go back to the House. They're going to vote on it, and then it's over. The president signs it, and we would have missed a big opportunity to really make a big impact in the lives of seniors. So let me know what you think. What do you think they should do to help seniors right now? I want to hear from you in the comments section below. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this idea of a flat Social Security benefit. Now, this came out of an analysis by the Congressional Budget Office that were looking at how to address the fact that the Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out of money. And, that is going to happen in 2033. And there's been a lot of concerns about, okay, what does that mean for seniors? Well, it means that in 2033, there's going to be a 25% cut in Social Security benefits. And I did a previous video talking about what Congress can do in order to fix this. There are 5 proposals that are in front of Congress. Everything I've been talking about is not something that I made up. These are things that people in Congress know about. They just don't have the political courage to do it. So the Congressional Budget Office did a whole analysis on what if we went to a flat Social Security benefit. And the idea is that rather than having Social Security based on how much you paid into the system, they're going to have a flat Social Security where everybody in the 2025 year would receive $1,934 a month. Everybody, regardless of how much you paid into the system. Why is that important and how is that helpful? Because number one, it lifts a lot of seniors and people on disability out of poverty. But number two, it also then, helps solve the deficiency in the Social Security Trust Fund and helps save Social Security for the future. So they did this analysis, and here is what they found. They found that if they give everybody $1,934 a month in Social Security, then that will put everybody at 150% of the federal poverty level. And who is going to benefit the most? Well, the lower 25% of Social Security beneficiaries are the ones that are going to benefit the most because they're going to see a big bump in their Social Security benefits. But the higher 75% of Social Security recipients who make more than the average are going to see a slight dip in their benefits. But over a 10-year period, the Social Security Trust Fund is going to save a ton of money, and this is going to fix the problem that the Social Security Trust Fund has been having for the last couple of years that is going to cause this 25% cut that is coming. So I thought that was interesting. I'm going to research it further, and I'm going to do a whole video on the Congressional Budget Office's flat payment proposal for Social Security and disability benefits. So stay tuned for that. But before I go, I want to talk about Medicare. You've heard me talk about this before. If you are currently in a Medicare program, you may be in the wrong program and could get a better Medicare plan at no cost to you. Now, our partner, Chapter Medicare, whose number you see on the screen, as I've mentioned many, many times, I have been creating content for seniors for 15 years. I have never partnered with a Medicare advisory company until now because Chapter is completely different from what is out there. Number one, they want to be your advocate. They want to be in your corner and help get you into a better Medicare plan. So there may be a small window for you to be able to switch into a better plan, or if you are turning 65 and are confused about the options that are out there, there's 24,000 Medicare plans out there. And if you're confused about how to choose the plan that is best for you, give these guys a call. 539-205-2147. They are A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau, tons of 5-star review. Everybody we've sent to Chapter has had a great experience. And here's the thing, it is free to you. And if you call them today, right now, they will explain to you everything that is available to you in your local area. There's 24,000 Medicare plans out there, but some of them are location specific. They will help you find the one that best suits your budget. They will explain to you what doctors are in that network, what hospitals are in that network, what the copays are, and how those plans compare to traditional Medicare. And be able to put all the information in front of you so that you can pick the best plan for you. 90% of all seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan. And the worst thing is when you need help and you realize that the coverage you have does not cover what you need. And so give Chapter a call today, or go into the description to this video. There is a link, fill out the short form, and they'll reach out to you and walk you through your options and help get you into a good plan. As I mentioned, your window may be closing. There may be a small window to be able to switch. So call them today. You will not regret it. Now, if you are new here and you like what you heard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about anything I have covered, hit me up in the comment section. I am open to suggestions of topics that you want me to address. If you have specific questions that affect you regarding Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, let me know in the comments. I'll do the research and then I'll cover it in my next subsequent videos. So guys, thank you for hanging out with me on this Monday evening. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you tomorrow. I think my feed went out for a few minutes at the beginning. I apologize for that. There was a storm going through here. So that was that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.